Hi guys, welcome back to another bake along. I'm really excited this time because it's another very festive recipe. And I'm also going to try and record it at the same time to go onto Instagram for short form content as well. So we're going to be doing mini apple crumble gingerbread spice pies. So they're going to be cute little pastries. That's what the muffin tin is for, to create the little casings. And I may or may not put some biscoff in them for kind of like the festive gingerbread vibe as well. So yeah, we'll see. Depending on the thumbnail, you'll figure out what I've called them. But basically, they're going to be apple pies with a Christmassy twist. So let's get started. And I've got all the ingredients here. You only need 3 cooking apples for this, maybe even less. So if I have leftover stuff, I'll just use it for something else or make another batch. But yeah, it's really easy, really fun. I obviously just use ready-made pastry. You can make your own, I think I have in the past. But yeah, it's a really fun recipe, so let's get started. And if you don't already know me, I do recipe, home food content, all the channels. So yeah, let's get on with the recipe. So when it comes to the apples, you don't have to have cooking apples. It's just these ones that are typically used for cooking because they're just not as nice to eat. And they're slightly more acidic as well. But if you prefer some that are just sweeter, you can just use any apples that you want. It really doesn't make a difference. But these are Bramley apples, so I'm going to use these. I think nowadays you can get them in just major supermarkets. So yeah, I'm going to stick with these. I'm going to chop them all up into little diced cubes, and then they're basically going to go into the pan with some sugar, cinnamon and butter to get a little bit soft. And also I will put a link to this knife because it's the one that I literally use all the time in so many of my recipes. It sharpens really well, it's not that expensive, it's usually on offer as well. So I will put a link of that in the description. But yeah, I basically just chop it into, because it's going in tiny pies, they do need to be a lot smaller chunks than you might do like in an apple crumble. So let me just show you. So this, for example, I've actually chopped it down the middle as well. So something like that is about right for these little pies. So if I put them in my hand, you'll be able to see how small they are. So they're really small, and then hopefully they'll slightly shrink up when they're sort of steamed as well. So just in case you were wondering, this is actually from the Tom Kerridge range that I recently have done some work with, which is very exciting. It's a really nice stainless steel pan, but really for this you could use any pan, you know, non-stick, cast iron, enamelled, whatever. So yeah, that's what I'm going to use for this. So this is the amount of apples. It's probably too much, so I'll probably have to make something with the rest of it. And then I've literally just got some butter. You could use any kind of butter. I'm using light brown sugar. But you could use dark brown sugar again, so it's like, it really depends on what you've got in your cupboards. And then I'm just going to be using, if it focuses, some cinnamon for the apples, and then I'm going to use ginger, some other spices in the crumble topping. Okay, so basically what I've done, I've added the butter, the brown sugar, and some water, and that kind of will help steam the apples a little bit as the water evaporates. And then I'm going to add cinnamon, and then we basically wait for the apples to get a little bit softer. So they're still pretty hard at the moment, as you can see. So you can either put the lid on and have like a good medium to high heat to get it going, and then turn it down to low heats. Or like if you're not in a rush and you just have to sit there, just pop it on low heat for a little bit and it will very gently cook them. But you don't want them mushy, you just want them sort of a little bit, 50% squidgy, that kind of thing. And then, because I don't like it when you bite into a pie and it's like really crunchy, I prefer it to be like almost, not pasty, but like, you know, in the middle. So yeah, let's do this stage. And then after the apples, we'll put those to the side to cool down a bit. And then we'll make the crumble. And then whilst they simmer, just because it does take sort of 8 to 10 minutes or so, I'm going to preheat the oven to about, let's go for 190, I think is a good amount. Also, Also, I should probably say, like, if you wanted to add some extra fruit, like especially for Christmas, if you want to add some dried cranberries, add at the start when you add like the butter, and it will get nice and they'll soften up and absorb some of the moisture. So you could cranberries, you could add blackberries, you could add plums, but you don't really need to cook those for very long. So literally just whack them in the end to get a coating of the sauce. Yeah, obviously don't do bananas, not the recipe for bananas. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that you could do and add at this stage so that all the fruit gets combined. Right, I have just had a tiny little break whilst they finish cooking. We're going to do the crumble now. I've got a nice cup of tea. So the crumble is really, really easy. Nothing complicated at all. It's literally plain flour, golden caster sugar I use. You could use just white sugar. Literally, if you only got white granulated like sugar that you use for tea and coffee, you could just use that because you don't need much of it. And then I've got butter. I'm going to use some butter over there. Then I've got 3 different spices I'm using for the crumble mixture. So for the apples I only used cinnamon so it wasn't too strong. And then for the crumble mixture, which is like where it gets a little bit more festive, we're going to do a bit of nutmeg, a bit of mixed spice that has nutmeg in it. We've got some ground cinnamon and ground ginger. So they're the 3 things I use. I also use these for my gingerbread cookies bake along. If you haven't already seen that bake along, go and watch it after this because the cookies are so good. They went viral on Instagram and TikTok. So many people have tried them already. So yeah, would highly recommend if you kind of like that spiced cinnamon vibe. But yeah, let's make the crumble. Right, I should also say that the 3rd apple was not used, so I only used 2 apples. These are huge though, so normal cooking apples are a little bit smaller from my experience. So yeah, kind of sort of do it by eye. If you've got a bit of leftover, eat it or put it in another little like tin to do something else. A little crumble, a mini pot of crumble works nice. But anyway, yeah, so for the flour, I have got 100 grams, I've written it down, 100 grams of flour I'm using, 70 grams of 70 grams of golden caster sugar, 50 grams, I'm going to change that, I'm going to do 65 grams of butter and then spices. So I'm going to I've got some scales, just some old salted scales. Okay, I've zeroed it. So now basically, it's not one of those things where you have to kind of do things separately and then mix them together. I just do all the dry ingredients first, mix them and then add the butter, like really simple, all in one bowl. So I'm going to do 100 grams of flour first. Then I've got just golden caster sugar. This is just a Tesco one. I think Billington's also did a really good one that I've used before. So I'm going to do zero it again, and then we're going to do 70 grams of sugar. Right, that was actually too much, guys. I went a bit overboard, so we're going to put some back in there. So guys, even us who are technically sort of professional, I don't know if I'm going to call myself professional, but it's sort of my job, so I guess I'm sort of called a professional home cook, let's call that. Right, so we're going to take a little bit first, we're going to do everything dry. So we're going to go in with the spices. So I'm going to do, actually, let's do the ginger first. So the ginger is like the thing that I think personally makes it really Christmassy, because it's like, there's not many things that taste of ground ginger, apart from like gingerbread men. So, and like pumpkin spice lattes, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go in with about 1.5 of ginger. It will be quite strong, but it's only because there's a small amount of crumble on the top of the little pies, so you kind of, you do want like a sort of stronger taste. Then this is cinnamon, so we're going to go in with a teaspoon, actually no, we'll go in, yeah, we'll do like a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then the mixed spice, which has like the nutmeg and that kind of thing in, whole cloves, more ginger and cinnamon in here as well. Only a small amount of this, so I'll probably do, oh brilliant, well that doesn't fit in there. So I'm probably going to do about half a teaspoon, something like that. And then I just basically just mix that together, and it means like all the dry ingredients, they mix so much better if you just do it now when it's all kind of, well, there's nothing wet in it to like make the spices stick together, if that makes sense. So mix the dry ingredients, and then I'm going to add 65 grams of butter. And obviously I will be putting the recipe all in the description, so don't worry if you forget anything. Right, I've had a little clean up, and by clean up what I mainly mean is camera clean up, so a lot of the crap is over there, however, you know, we'll forget that. It looks like a clean up, so I've done part of the clean up. And I've now got shortcrust pastry. I prefer this to puff pastry anyway, but obviously for pies like this, you do want shortcrust pastry. So this is a large pack from Tesco. So the number of grams, it's 475 grams. So don't get like the thin one. If you get the standard packs, you might want to get 2. Or like if you're using something like Just Roll, I think you probably want 2 packs as well. So we're basically going to cut these into like really big circles and then press them into a muffin tin that I'm going to grease, just with a little bit of butter. So I normally have a little bit of like grease-proof paper lying around. So this is just how I grease. So I wrap it around 2 like or 3 fingers, like that. And then if you dip it into that, it's much easier to like put it around the tray like that. Okay, so now is the slightly fiddly bit. So I'm basically just gonna roll out the pastry, and don't get the pastry out until you're gonna use it because pastry does not like being warm. And then I'm just gonna get a sharp knife. Now, what you kind of wanna do is cut a circle or a square or something that's kind of big enough that it's gonna go up the side. So that's, you know, probably 3 centimeters or so, 2.5 centimeters. Well, an inch if you're of that age. But yeah, so I'm going to be basically trying to sort of cut. So if that's the size, and then add an inch. So I'm going to kind of cut large. I might actually just do squares because then I can roll it out. So what I'll do, yeah, I'm going to roll that whole thing out. It's a bit fiddly even for me, to be honest. Something like that. Right, I'm just going to go for it. Hopefully this works. So you grab a square. Roll up the sleeves, make sure the tin is buttered. Then I keep the sticky side up. There's a side that's slightly less sticky. So we're just gonna go for it. Oh, I'm nervous now. Right, yeah, let's do this one. So we're gonna tuck it into the tin. And then this is the sort of wiggly bit. So if you've got long nails like me, just use your knuckle and press your knuckle kind of into it. Otherwise you could actually use, if you have like a soft edge of a back of a spoon or something, you could use that to help you. So I'm just gonna press that down. And then basically I'll skip forward and I'll show you how I kind of press it back and then cut off the edge. The speed of light while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. And then obviously any leftover pastry, we're gonna roll that out. Oh, there's a bit of stuff in it. We're gonna roll that out later and make some new ones with it. So it doesn't go to waste at all. We're gonna use that for more later on. So I really should have put a caveat in there. If you have long nails, just like, it's gonna be more difficult, but you know, it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out in the end, and they're gonna be delicious. But yeah, it is a nightmare. Mine are like pretty damn long at the moment, and they're only freshly done, so they're gonna get longer and longer. But anyway, I hope you saw them on Instagram. If you haven't seen them, they're really cute. They've got like little bows on them. Let me see if I can zoom in and actually focus on them. Hold on, there we go. They're like, how cute are they? They've got little bows, and then it's like a pina colada coloured tip. Anyway, back to baking. So yeah, it is a little bit fiddly with nails. And then I'll just show you, if you do have a rolling pin, the ready-made pastry doesn't usually need, it's not usually too wet, so you can just go ahead and just use the grease-proof paper they give you. And if you do have a rolling pin, obviously you can control it a little more. So with this spare pastry, if you basically squish it into a ball and then literally just whack it down on the grease-proof paper that comes with the pastry, you can then start creating more rounds of pastry to use for the other cups. So there we go, that looks good. And then pick that up. I like thick pastry, by the way, which Paul Hollywood and Mary Berry would not be okay with, but I'd much rather have like a nice thick pastry. So then that can go in to another one to make some more. So we've got the 3 different parts of the recipe. We've got the pastry cases, the crumble for the top, and then this is cold now, well, very cool, this pan of the apples. So I'm gonna put apples in the pastry, then crumble on top, then I might put a bit of brown sugar, and then it's basically just gonna go in the oven. So yeah, it's actually a really simple recipe, like 3 components. It's a great one for easy baking, really nice to make with someone too. Like my sister would absolutely love to be here right now to make these, and she's guaranteed to message me once I posted this saying, oh my god, we need to make this. So that's gonna happen. So yeah, if you've got friends or a sister or a brother or anyone that you can make something cozy with this Christmas, then definitely give it a go. So yeah, now let's put it all together. You don't want to fill these too high. Like they do have a good probably half a centimetre at the top. So yes, when you put them in, just push the apple. It's probably like a big dessert spoon's worth. Push them down a tiny bit, and then you can see it's not like right to the top if you were doing like an apple pie. So yeah, just leave a tiny gap at the top to have a good layout of the crumble. And then I go excessive with the crumble anyway because it's so delicious. So yeah, we'll just fill all these up. And I will have leftover apple. I will have leftover apple at the end. So that's why and I will have leftover crumble at the end. So I'm gonna make a very small like apple crumble just with the leftovers as well, which you can too. Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. Got the pies ready to go in. So I've got the apple crumble, they look so cute, don't they? So I'm going to put those, excuse all the sounds, we've got building work going on. Those are going to go in the oven, and then just with the leftover apple and the leftover crumble mixture, I literally just got these 2 oven-proof like ramekins. This is like a 2-person sharer one. I think actually this had, this is Charlie Bingham. I don't know what it had in it, maybe a pie. So I've kept that and used it for this dessert. So yeah, they're going to go in at 190 degrees, probably for like 25 minutes, but don't quote me on that until the end. All the instructions are in the description. So yeah, let's bake. We're chasing snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town. Later we meet under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace. Right, so these have been out of the oven and they've been cooling probably for about half an hour. So basically, if you try and take them out before they've cooled down, the pastry is still really soft. So the inside of it will still be quite like nice and warm. I can actually feel the heat still coming from them. So just let them cool, and then I'll show you. It's much easier to get them out. So if you just take a knife and just very gently find a little gap in the edge and just cut it out, facing the blade towards like the metal, that should, yay! How cute is that? They should pop out and they'll be nice and golden, no soggy bottoms, as you can see. Sounds really good. It's got a good weight to it, you know, there's gonna be like a really good amount of filling. And then you could drizzle, I haven't decided if I'm gonna drizzle anything on top, or I might just leave it like that, but how cute are those little pies? Right, I've just put the light on now because it's getting a bit dark. So I've got a plate that I'm gonna put them on, and then I'm literally just gonna put a little bit of icing sugar on them. So I'll take them out, I'll put them on the plate, and then let's do the icing sugar. You could definitely drizzle over some melted white chocolate, or milk chocolate, or dark chocolate. I'm just not a fan of too much chocolate, so I tend not to do that. You could also melt down or put in the microwave some Biscoff, some like, which I was considering of putting inside the little crumble pies as well, but I decided against it in the end. But I think just a little bit of icing sugar, and this will be, yeah, I just think a really nice, comforting dessert. Guys, these came out so good. I also just recorded, let's just move the decoration for now. I also recorded some sort of vertical clips to put on my social media for like the shorter recipe videos. So if you want to see those, there are loads over there as well. But yeah, they came out so good. I also served it with custard for one of the shots. You have to have them with custard. They're so good. They're really delicious. The cinnamon is so nice. Honestly, these are so good. It's literally, excuse me, literally a mix between an apple crumble, gingerbread biscuit and apple pie. Better than McDonald's ones. But anyway, so delicious, highly recommend it. I really hope you enjoyed the bake along. So yeah, that one's with custard, which is amazing. I think we've got quite a few tradesmen here, so I was thinking what I could like give a few to them as a nice little treat because it's really cold today as well. But yeah, the cake roll is so good. I think for a bake along as well, it's perfect because there's a few fiddly bits like with the pastry, but apart from that, everything else is so simple. And the bake along last time, like I'm still relatively new to YouTube, but it had the most likes on it. So it made me feel like it was a good idea to do this. So really hope you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe if you like what I'm doing and tell me the recipes you want me to do next. It doesn't have to be baking, it could be cooking, breakfast, lunch, dinner recipes, snacks, whatever. And I think I'm going to continue this cook along, bake along kind of thing. And yeah, like the video, comment if you've made them, send me a picture on Instagram if you've made them and I can repost them, which will be really fun. And yeah, hope you enjoy and see you next time.